Yo, what's up? My name's Bridger Frederick. I am a T10 paraplegic who's been living with spinal cord injury for 2.5 years. And on this channel, I review absolutely everything that a person living with a spinal cord injury, or if you know someone living with a spinal cord injury, everything that they can do to maximize happiness, health, and healing. And today, this is a super important episode because we're going over 5 things that anyone can do right now for free to maximize your quality of life and increase your likelihood of healing neurologically, maintaining your health, and maintaining yourself in a way so that if there is some breakthrough technology in the future that can heal spinal cord injury, all the sexy stuff that everyone talks about, like stem cell treatments and spinal cord injury stimulators, and the Neuralink, whatever it is, that your body will be in good enough condition to actually take advantage of those technologies as they emerge. So let's jump straight into it. I think this first thing is one of the most overlooked avenues in spinal cord injury, post-injury, especially immediately post-injury, that we don't put enough attention to, and that's deeply assessing the necessary medications and doing everything you can to lower the just burden on your body, whether it be your kidneys, your liver, your brain, your neurological system. I think we're way overprescribed when we immediately leave the hospital. And so, like, for me, like, when I left the hospital, I was on massive amounts of opiates. I had a prescription of benzos, I believe, tons of muscle relaxers, antispasmodic medications like baclofen. I was on antibiotics, which some of the stuff was super necessary. I mean, I probably would have died without the antibiotics. I had a massive infection in my spinal column. But I think I know I wasn't on them, but I know a lot of spinal cord injury people are on blood pressure medications. I was on blood thinners, prescribed laxatives in massive amounts because of the opiate and muscle relaxer use, and then bladder spasm medication. And now, 2.5 years after injury, and basically shortly, I started cutting stuff out right away, and I would never advise you to do it without a doctor. Some of these medications are life-saving, of course, but things like baclofen, I have terrible spasms all the time, but I just think that shutting that down and your body moving below the level of injury and those muscles flexing, I'm pretty dang sure it's a good thing and part of your body's healing mechanism. Now, I know they can be inhibitory to what you want to do in life, and I sometimes take baclofen, but very, very seldomly. And I don't take anything anymore. The only medications I'm on regularly now are Toviaz for bladder spasms, which is because without it, I would be urinarily incontinent because my bladder would spasm regularly, causing urine to come out. And then Tadalafil, Cialis, boner pills. Those are the only 2 medications I take regularly. And then I have a bunch of other stuff available if I need it, but I don't take blood thinners, I don't take blood pressure medications, I don't take anything for sleep, any muscle relaxers. I take baclofen maybe once a month for spasms, and then laxatives or fiber as needed for neurogenic bowel conditions. But I actually think that this huge confluence of medications is very negative and very inhibitory to your body's natural healing processes. So work with your doctor. Even better, get multiple doctors involved if that's an option for you. Integrative medicine doctors, functional medicine doctors are great at doing more in-depth blood testing and just analyses of the body system as a whole, and maybe being able to recommend natural alternatives to allopathic medications. But yeah, work with your doctor. Painkillers, benzos, sleeping medications, antispasmodics. If you're really serious about healing, you might just have to suffer through some symptoms and find natural ways and alternative methods for coping, including and not limited to meditation, just toughing it out, natural herbs and remedies. There's lots of different options, but start really narrowing down those medications that are absolutely necessary and the ones that might be a little bit more frivolous. And then that moves into number 2, which is by and far the biggest game changer for me in my well-being, my mood, my happiness, my outlook on life, my ability to gain muscle mass and maintain it, and just absolutely positive in every single way, has been my diet. You got to get your diet on lock. I'm not going to sit here and debate. I eat mostly carnivorous diet. That's what I've ended up on. I eat a lot of grass-fed, grass-finished beef and lamb and poultry and wild meat. I eat bear and elk and deer, and I eat blueberries and avocados and some coffee, and that's virtually all I eat right now, because I had a lot of gut problems. But if vegan works for you, eat vegan. Like, I've tried it all, and the bottom line is, unless you have specific digestive health issues or food allergies or something really specific acutely going on, the general rule of thumb, the first thing that absolutely everyone with a spinal cord injury needs to do today to maximize healing, health, and happiness is just remove all of the packaged and processed foods from your diet. You got to do it. It is, without a doubt, these things, everyone should do it, spinal cord injury or not, but if you really want to be happy and full of life and vibrance and give your body a fighting chance at getting as much back as you possibly can and as the highest quality of life, you got to remove everything that comes in a package. You should be eating, it doesn't matter, meat, vegetables, nuts, whatever you want to eat, it needs to be whole foods. Like, you got to. I promise you, you will not regret it. It is way cheaper, because the processing and it ends up being, if you go and buy only single ingredient whole foods, that's my kind of rule of whether or not a food's good for me, is it doesn't have an ingredients list at all. It doesn't come in a package, so there's no place to put the ingredient list, and there's no need to put an ingredients list on broccoli or steak, because that is the ingredient. And so that's kind of my rule of thumb. If it comes in a single ingredient, it's probably not that bad for you, in moderation. So yeah, if you really want to have a fighting chance at having an absolutely full and amazing, long, bountiful, fantastic life, whether or not you have a spinal cord injury, but especially when you're compromised neurologically, like those of us with spinal cord injuries or post-strokes or muscular dystrophy, anything that's compromising that nervous system, you got to nail the diet. And the very first step is just removing anything that comes in a package, eating a whole food diet, and then really being intuitive. That's the biggest superpower anyone can have when it comes to diet, is eating intuitively. Eat something. If you feel like crap, cut that thing after you eat it, cut that thing out for a while and try something else, and just, and eat when you're actually hungry. It's hard for people, especially with higher level injuries, cervical injuries, or just higher level thoracic injuries. I know that a lot of people with those injuries often don't get as hungry. So, that's not always a good rule of thumb to only eat when you're hungry if you literally can't feel your stomach because you're not neurologically connected to it. In that case, you need to be tracking your calories. You need to be getting enough nutrition. And I just started using an app a few months ago that makes it super easy. It's called MyFitnessPal, the free version, or there's a free version that works perfectly fine, and it's got all the foods like pre-programmed in it. You search the food you're eating. If you're eating whole foods, it's not that much work to track your diet. So make sure you're getting roughly enough food and the right macros every day. You're eating whole foods, and we can get more into diet specifically, but that's the first steps. And leading directly from diet, it's not exercise. No, it's heal your gut. almost everyone, post massive traumatic injury, time in the hospital, whatever it is, antibiotics, opiates, all the new medications, all the massive amounts of stress and anxiety and everything that goes along with a giant, and the disconnect, the blatant disconnect on your spinal cord from your brain to your gut. I think a lot of people with spinal cord injury are living with massive gut dysfunction, a complete dysbiosis, and just digestive issues all around, either constipation or diarrhea or a combination of them switching back and forth. And I think going all in to heal your gut is going to be massive, because as new research and new knowledge comes out and more people are focusing on the gut, on the microbiome, everyone's beginning to realize kind of simultaneously that it has a massive role to play in all things healing, in recovery, in mood, in neurotransmitters. And when you're already so compromised, as all of us are who have spinal cord injuries, you really got to nail this one down. The diet and subsequent gut healing that result, nailing my diet down and the subsequent gut healing that has come from it, was hands down the most life-changing thing that's ever happened to me in a positive way. The most life-changing thing that's ever happened to me is getting in a car wreck and getting my spinal cord crushed. But the most life-changing thing that's ever happened in the other direction is going from living in absolutely, no pun intended, gut-wrenching, horrible stomach pain all day, every day, having diarrhea, constipation, blood, every disgusting, horrible bowel symptom you can ever imagine all the time. I mean, it was ruining my mood, it was ruining my motivation, it was wrecking my relationship. I couldn't even think about anything else for months and months and months. I mean, my gut was completely destroyed by antibiotics, by opiate use, and just getting those symptoms somewhat under control by eating a completely whole food diet. And I have been taking a lot of herbal stuff, and I'm going to make other videos directly related to healing your gut, but there's so much to unpackage there and so much that could be going on. It is highly recommended that, I mean, no matter if you got to raise money online, if you got to borrow money, if you have to put it on credit cards, I would highly recommend going to a functional medicine doctor who specializes in gut healing, because a gastroenterologist is like a normal allopathic one is probably not going to really help you if you have serious gut issues. They're just like the first gastroenterologist I saw basically just was like, we can cut your gallbladder out and see if that helps. And I don't even know if it was my gallbladder. I think my gallbladder was having massive dysfunction, but I think it was mainly because of just horrendous, horrible bacteria, complete overgrowth, whether it was yeast, bacteria, fungus, I don't know what it was. I went to functional medicine doctors and I went to allopathic medicine doctors, and I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on. But if you have, and mine just took tons of trial and error, and that's probably what it's going to take with you. But if you go and you can get a comprehensive stool analysis, an H. pylori test, and some different tests done right away, maybe narrow it down, and you won't have to go through as extensive and miserable trial and error as I did. So, and if you can't do that, then just start YouTubing. Start reading blogs and articles. There's so much information available on the internet and so much conflicting, crazy information, but you just got to start trying one thing, then another, and narrowing it down and seeing what works for you, being really intuitive, and just start now, because it's a long journey to heal your gut, and I cannot even begin to tell you how beautiful it is on the other side of those digestive issues. You can do it. I lost hope so many times in the 18 months of intense, just life-destroying stomach problems. I lost hope so many times and had to really push. and I felt like I would never get through it. I fasted for 20 days at one point, 10 days of like 2 glasses of juice a day, and then 10 days of nothing but water. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Perfect refeed, super cognizant and intuitive, and within a month, and it basically healed my guts, and then within a month or two, it was all back. I mean, I was destroyed all over again because I didn't combine that fast with the massive amount of herbal antibiotics I have been taking now, things like neem oil, golden seal, a ton of oregano oil. And I'm not doing this long term. These are very strong things that you need to treat like acute medications, but they've been working for me. Boswellia, which is like frankincense, I believe. And so, yeah, start learning about the gut, start trying to heal it in any way you can. Give your gut some love, focus on it, and I promise it will pay massive dividends towards your health, healing, and your happiness. Just do it. Start learning about the gut, start healing. And then number 4, and this might even be worthy of number 1, don't postpone it at all. Start moving. Move. We're trapped in this completely unnatural position, especially if you have a higher level injury and you're in a power chair and you're just, and just laying down all the time. It's extremely deleterious to the body. Do absolutely anything you can to move. When I first got out of the hospital and was in this little tiny apartment and on my own, I completely neglected this. I did not move enough. I was just switching from the couch to the bed, just laying a lot, sitting a lot. I was in so much pain. I got rhabdomyolysis in that time, was just having a ton of issues, and I neglected movement a lot. And then on top of that, quarantine happened, and my body just started to stiffen and atrophy and decay. I was getting weaker, not stronger. And so do anything you can. Move as much as you possibly can. If you can only move one finger up and down, then move that finger all day. Get that mind-body connection going. Think about what's going on in your brain. Push that energy and that thought down your spinal cord, however far you can go, and to any extremities you can. Move, roll over in bed. I started what was a game changer for me, and this was intimidating for me at first. And I'm a T10, so I have, lots of upper body abilities that I know some people won't have, but like it was literally intimidating for me to roll over on my stomach in bed because I was so fragile. I mean, I broke my spinal column in like 20 places, 20 different fractures, 3 major displacements at C6, T10 where I got spinal cord injury, and L3. I broke all the ribs on the right side of my body. A bunch of them like ripped off my back. I had a bunch of muscles removed from the back because like I flipped a pickup going 80 miles per hour through a telephone pole with the roof, with no seatbelt on, and the roof went through the telephone pole and my back was up against the roof, and so my whole body was crushed. I mean, so I was fragile, like really fragile. And the whole time I was in inpatient, I didn't do as much healing and exercising and movement as I would have liked to then because I had a massive infection, a staph infection in my spinal column. So like just rolling over in bed was quite intimidating. It felt like I didn't know if my back was just going to snap. Like I felt vulnerable. And this is coming from someone who was, deadlifting 300 to 4, like I could deadlift right before injury. I was deadlifting like 380 pounds or so, 32 times. 1 rep, 32 times. 32 sets, 1 rep. Like I was in really good shape. I was feeling awesome. I could, run 10 miles. I could do 100 push-ups. Like I was feeling pretty dang superhuman at the time of injury. Like I had a lot of muscle like good usable muscle, like mitochondrial dense muscle, and this was still extremely scary for me to just roll over in my bed. But be cognizant of where you're at, but you're less fragile than you think. Don't let yourself become scared and fragile. You gotta push your body. Listen to your body, be intuitive. That's a skill that you're going to have to gain. If you don't have it, be super intuitive, but roll over, do push-ups in bed, lift one arm if that's all you can do, move your head back and forth. Don't be afraid to ask for help and ask people to move your body. If you're a high-level quadriplegic, then you're going to have to settle with asking people to move your body as much as you can, whoever they are, whatever they're willing to do. Move your arms, move your hands, move your legs back and forth. It's absolutely imperative that you move as much as possible. So, last but not least, not a super sexy one, but number 5, all of these are kind of almost equal in importance, but number 5 is huge. It was massive for me, and I've only just started doing this 2 years after injury, maybe 2 years and 4 months after injury. If I'm 2 years and 6 months right now, like I just really started taking this seriously, and it's been such a huge game changer in my life, in my recovery, and that is sleep. Sleep. It's so incredibly difficult to get great sleep when you have a spinal cord injury. I struggled with it immensely in every way, shape, and form. Since the day I got injured, I slept like complete shit. I mean, when I was in the hospital, I'm literally there like laying like kind of like face forward on this weird chair because my whole back is cut open, and I'm waiting for a muscle flap surgery, and like just in the most amount of pain with lights, and just it was so awful the whole time. All 3 months of inpatient, I slept like crap, and that just carried over to when I was extricated from the hospital system and on my own. The only way I ever even slept at all was if I knocked myself out with benzos, opiates, or Ambien, and that stuff, that's not actually sleeping. I mean, it was good for me because I guess it was a respite from the pain and allowed me to stay sane at all, but that's not real restorative, healthy sleep just because you're unconscious. You have to do everything in your power to pursue consistent, great nights of sleep, and some things you can do straight away is shut the phone off, shut the TV off slightly after it gets dark. And if you're going to be on your phone or TV at all, I highly recommend getting what are called some blue light blocking glasses. Get the orange ones that completely block blue light if you really want crazy, effective sleep hack, because it helps a ton. You just put these glasses on when it gets dark. It blocks the blue light from entering your eyes, and that blue light is what signals your body to stay awake. It's light that would normally be available only from the sun, but with all of our artificial lighting, our TVs and our phones, they release blue light, and I'm telling you, blocking that light, massive difference in sleep. Stay off the phone for at least an hour before you go to bed. That dopamine scrolling, and the TV, the phone, the TV, computer, if you can just cut it off an hour before you go to sleep, it will make such a massive difference. Do anything other than be on an electronic device. Lay and stare at the ceiling, read a book, write, do puzzles, like hang out with someone, talk, sing songs to yourself. It does not matter what you do. If you just don't touch your phone or TV for 1 hour before you want to go to sleep, it will hugely improve the quality and the ease at which you go to sleep. So blue light blocking glasses, phone, and then sleep hygiene. Have a little routine at night, same time, that gets your body recognizing that it's time to go to bed. And this is something I neglected worse than anyone. I was the worst sleeper post-injury. I would go to bed at 5 in the morning a lot of times. I would go to bed at 6 o'clock at night. I would sleep in the middle of the day. I did not give a shit about my schedule. I just was in so much pain, like sleep was super elusive, and so I only slept when I was so tired I just passed out basically. And just getting into a routine, like now I'm in a super specific routine. So what I do now is, first things first, I start my sleep journey at 7 o'clock in the morning. Very first thing in the morning, I get outside, I take my dogs, and I go and I look at the sunshine. I normally do this right at sunrise. So I'm here down in Florida, and it's April, mid-April, and the sun rises about 7:15, 7:20 in the morning. And so set my alarm for 6:50, drink about 30 ounces of water, hop up, put my dogs on a leash, and roll outside and go look at the sunshine. That sets your circadian rhythm up and just gets you ready for an epic night of sleep that night. And then going on through the day, absolutely under no circumstances do I drink caffeine after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I think I'm probably a slow caffeine metabolizer, but I think that's a good recommendation, like at the absolute latest, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But cut off caffeine. I eat a carbohydrate. My only carbohydrates I normally have during the day are going to be about 3 to 4 hours before I go to bed. So my last meal, I try to time it about at least 2 hours before I'm going to fall asleep, but that doesn't always work because I get home pretty late from my PT and the things that I do during the day. And so sometimes, and I fast in the morning, so sometimes I don't eat my first meal until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And then I usually get hungry again about 8 o'clock. So I will eat a little closer to bed sometimes, but it affects my sleep quality. And if you're having super trouble sleeping, like try to have a little window of not eating before you fall asleep. Try to have some carbs with that last meal. That seems to make me sleep a lot better for whatever reason. I don't really know the science or anything behind that. And then stop using those electronics and have some little routine, like, the order in which you brush your teeth, wash your face, lay in bed, read, like just have some routine that lets your body know it's getting ready to go to sleep. And then just whether or not you're tired, about the same time every single night. Some nights I like to read a little bit later, do whatever. I usually go to bed about 10:30 to 11:30, but hard hour time frame. Just shut everything down and just lay in bed until your body just gets used to that being it's time to go to bed and fall asleep. The next day, get up at roughly the same time and get that early morning sunlight. I can't even stress enough how much that early morning sunlight has helped me nail down a good circadian rhythm and get some better and better sleep quality. So yeah, that's the 5 things I've got for you today to start right now to maximize your body's ability to heal neurological injury and to completely and totally maximize your quality of life, your health, your happiness. You got to assess your medications, really narrow down which medications are imperative to keep you alive and which ones are frivolous and just extra load on your body. You got to get rid of those opiates, those benzos, those muscle relaxers, those sleeping medications. Those are not assets at all. They aren't helping you heal. In acute situations, you might need them, but they need to not be chronically used. It's not conducive to healing. There's no way around it. It sucks. Getting off opiates and benzos was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, for sure, but imperative. Then nail down your diet, and we all know what that means. Removing those packaged and processed foods. First step, eating whole foods. You just got to. You got to do that. Then heal your gut. If you don't know how to do that, start researching, start learning. YouTube's a massive resource. I'm going to have tons of videos and podcasts and articles about healing your gut. So subscribe and stay tuned, and specifically geared towards spinal cord injury and my journey. And I'm going to interview experts. I'm going to have tons of gut health information, and there is so much of it on the internet. It is conflicting, but start educating yourself and start treating your gut right. And then number 4 was move all the time. Do as much as you can, as much physical exercise. You're not as fragile as you think. And every day and every moment you're not moving, you're losing that ability. It is atrophying, and it is a lot harder to get it back and get that muscle mass back especially below the level of injury, than it is to maintain it. Look into a functional electrical stimulation in your area at physical therapy places, like the bikes that shock your legs to move. That's huge. Look into that. And on top of movement, sleep. Sleep, 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 sleep. Everything you can, make sleep a priority. It's where you recover, it's where you heal. It is the time which your nerves would be repairing themselves. If they are, you have to get that 7 to 8 hours of sleep per 24-hour period. Nap if you have to. Just prioritize your sleep and make it important. Check those medications out. Diet, gut, move, sleep, and you'll be on your way to living a more prosperous life post-injury. All right, that was a long one. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Bridger Frederick. You can find me on Instagram at BridgerLeeFrederick. Facebook, probably the same, although I don't really use Facebook because it sucks. Hit me up on here, on YouTube. And if you need absolutely anything as far as ideas or advice on where to pursue different avenues that I mentioned on here, hit me up. And I really appreciate you sticking along for this journey on this video. If you've been here for the full 31 minutes and 17 seconds so far, yeah, greatly appreciated, and I hope everyone has an awesome day. Thank you so much, and I am signing out.